Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life gets easier with great assists, and State Farm is here to dish one your way. Get in touch over the phone or on the app to get the teammate you need. State Farm with the assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability and eligibility vary by state.
Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett, and today we're going to do something a little different because every 3 weeks or so, I get to host a YouTube exclusive in which we call the Cover 3 with my good friends Dre from Dre Area Sports and Aaron from 49ers First Takes, and I want to bring that to you today on the audio podcast channels because, as you'll come to find out, we were live the exact moment in which Micah Parsons got traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. We also get into some Jauan Jennings updates, including his trade request being denied by the San Francisco 49ers, and we also react to the Niners unveiling their new Nike Rivalry Jerseys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, share, subscribe on the audio podcasting channels and on YouTube, trying to reach 2,000 before the midway point of the 2025 season. But here we are, and here you go. Here is the Cover 3. Welcome into the Cover 3. Myself, Sterling Bennett, is alongside Dre from Dre Area Sports and Aaron from 49ers First Takes. And we are going to give you and discuss and dissect the latest news of the San Francisco 49ers, including Jauan Jennings' denied trade request, the latest on the Marquez Valdes-Scantling signing, and the Kendrick Bourne rumors. And we're going to get into the plethora of other things happening out there at Niners HQ. Dre, Aaron, how you guys doing today on a Thursday afternoon?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk about Niners football, and we're so close now. It's like almost less than 2 weeks away. I'm so excited right now. This is like the happiest moment I've been since the season ended, but even then I was pissed. But yeah, I'm super excited.
It's a treat. I talked Niners last night. I get to talk Niners today with you guys. So it's always fun, and you get to talk probably my biggest obsession of my life, other than food. 49ers.
I love food. I eat a lot of it. Understanding.
Let's kick off today's show, which is our third edition of Cover 3, talking about arguably the most important topic regarding the San Francisco 49ers, that being the status of one Jauan Jennings. We have a clip we're going to play in a second, but I do want to ask you guys, Jauan Jennings, is he injured? Is he not injured? Will he be out there week 1? Because I am starting to get worried as to if we will see JJ out there against the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, San Francisco is trying to figure out what to do with the receiver room, but the Niners really have to start things off quickly. 5 really important games to begin the year. Seattle, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Jaguars, and the Rams. Do you guys believe Jauan Jennings will play week 1 for the San Francisco 49ers?
I would say I think he will, because I think this whole thing has been a big exaggeration of, I want a new contract, I'm going to hold in, I'm going to say that my calf hurts. And maybe his calf did hurt, but it's been hurt since May. That's a long time for a calf to be injured. And so at this point, I think they're just kind of writing that out. It wouldn't surprise me if he returned to practice the week leading up to the game. But my worry is that we've seen what happens before. Brandon Ayuk got signed and was there the week before the game. Never looked the same. And then he got his knee blown out, and that was the end of that. But he never looked the same. So I wonder if the same thing will happen to Jauan Jennings. Because he missed so much time, will he be the same receiver he was last season? But no, I don't believe that this injury is as significant as they're making it sound. I think this is strictly a contract, negotiation, if you will. And that's what's going on here.
It's great, when Sunday football starts up every year, there's always questions about contracts, people, will they play week one? There's always, and it's not just the 49ers, it's league wide, right? The magic of football Sunday and how things always seem to get resolved right before games that mean something and games that you get paid from start to happen immediately. Problems are solved I would say 95% of the time. So I think it's going to run the course. I don't think we're going to know probably until Fox NFL Sunday, like when it starts for the early games and they start talking, and you're going to get some sort of report that's going to say Jauan Jennings comes to an agreement with the 49ers. He will play Sunday. I just have a feeling it's going to drag and it's going to come up right to the butt of the game. I'd say 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern on my side right before the 1 o'clock game. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So it sounds like, Aaron, you believe that Jauan Jennings will take the Nick Bosa approach. I do think that he does have to practice on that Thursday because they are traveling to Seattle for week one. So I don't know if we're going to get that Fox NFL Sunday, here comes the ticker, breaking news with Jay Glazer out there before the games actually begin of Jauan Jennings signing his contract. But it does sound like this will linger, at least to both of your opinions, into late next week, which could be an inevitable pre-week one signing. But my opinion on this has really changed ever since listening to John Lynch yesterday. But Dre, you seem like you have something you want to get off your chest. What are you thinking?
I think if they give him a contract, it's a bad idea. I mean, look, if this guy really does have a legitimate calf injury, who's been out all...
Oh, guys, breaking news. The Cowboys are trading all-pro pass rusher Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers.
You're kidding me.
Jerry, how much cocaine have you been snorting? Dude, what is going on?
Wow.
Wait, is this real? Are you being serious right now?
This is per Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. Micah Parsons gets 4 years, $188 million with $136 million guaranteed. The whole show is derailed. Forget Jauan Jennings.
I'm sharing
Micah
screen
Parsons
right now.
Is off the team. Let me move over, you guys, see if I can bring this up, add it to the stage. There we go. Right there. Ian Rappaport. The Dallas Cowboys are trading away Micah Parsons in a deal that's going to include at least 2 first-rounders heading to the Dallas Cowboys. Are they the most dysfunctional franchise in the entire NFL?
Dude, he's lost his mind. How do you just sign Micah Parsons to that big contract extension and then you trade him? What is going on?
That was the problem. He wanted to get signed.
I thought they did agree to a contract.
No. This is I want to get paid. The whole agent stuff and the player stuff and Jerry mishandling things. They wanted to get the NFLPA involved, and now it's over. And for Green Bay, does Micah actually want to play in Green Bay? I guess his new deal being signed indicates that, but $47 million a year certainly makes Nick Bosa's contract look like a bargain right now. My God.
Here comes the Nick Bosa holdout. Here we go.
Man, that's true. Yeah.
It is possible that it could happen, but I mean, this does significantly make the Packers defense a lot better now. They have a premier pass rusher on the edge. This is something that this team, I think, has been searching for quite a while. I mean, you haven't heard about a premier pass rusher coming out of Green Bay since, Clay Matthews? So this is huge for them. It sucks because they're trading into another NFC team, which is Jerry, what are you doing? If you're going to trade Micah Parsons, you trade him to an AFC team, so you don't have to face him that many times a year. Yeah. But no, he's going to the Packers. This is ridiculous.
This is as big of a deal since Reggie White went to the Green Bay Packers after being an Eagle.
He's getting $136 million guaranteed.
Well, also think about it from the Niners' perspective. I know it's a lesser point now, but the Packers now have Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons on that defense as their bookends. You talk about having an issue with, and I know Parsons hasn't been that big of a deal for San Francisco in previous seasons, but there will be some point in time where if it's the playoffs and Trent's injured and you don't really love Colton McKivitz, it's Colton McKivitz and Spencer Burford against Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons. That is terrifying for Niner fans.
But for Parsons, I mean, when the Niners play the Cowboys, Parsons has not been that big of a monster, or this
because he's got Trent to go against, and Trent's not going to let him buy him. But if Trent's not playing, which he misses time every year.
Yep, at least a handful of games every single year.
I mean, it makes sense for Green Bay to get this guy.
Yeah, it does.
And
does this make them a favorite? Does this make them a favorite in the NFC?
I'd say it makes them a hell of a contender, but I mean,
they're definitely the favorite now in the NFC North. They have to, because
the Packers don't sign players. Like, they don't sign big contract players. I mean, they gave Jordan Love that big contract, but similar to, like, let's say the San Francisco Giants, they have to trade to get these guys to
this
come
is
on
their
their
Rafael
roster.
Devers.
This is their Rafael Devers, exactly. So this helps them significantly. But look at the Niners. I mean, we have Bosa and Huff, not to mention everybody else we drafted as well. So I think we're still going to have a pretty dynamic pass rush. But this definitely helps Green Bay quite a bit.
Well, you can tell that Green Bay feels like, one, we have to go all in on the current roster construction. They're doing what they did with Aaron Rodgers, get him a really good defense and hope he can help kind of lift the offense up. In the meantime, they have a ton of receivers, a relatively good running game. Josh Jacobs is awesome back there. But on top of that, the Lions lose Ben Johnson. He goes to the Bears. The Bears are trying to punch up on Detroit and Green Bay. Green Bay views themselves as a legitimate Super Bowl contender this year. You now give yourself a 3 to 4 year window to hopefully get that thing done and bring a championship Lombardi trophy back to Wisconsin, which good for them. This is what San Francisco would have been doing a couple years ago, but they couldn't afford to now. Whereas the Packers are in a much better place, like San Francisco was in 2021 and 2022, to go out there and afford to buy guys like this. So we don't know exactly what they're giving up outside of 2 first-round draft picks, but the Dallas Cowboys are a mess. Dak Prescott's getting $60 million a year, and you don't want to pay Micah Parsons?
This makes no sense.
How idiotic is that?
This makes no sense.
Do you think that the Cowboys are looking at themselves as not a contender, and that they're betting on the future?
They always consider themselves a contender. It's Jerry Jones. But this is I don't get it. This makes no sense to me. This is your premier defensive player on your defensive line, and you just traded him.
I do wonder if a wide receiver is going back to Dallas in this case, whether it's Romeo Doubs or Dontavian Wicks or a Jaden Reed, or maybe it's a half-injured Christian Watson. It just seems like that would have to be coming back to Dallas in the move. But on top of that, this to me reeks of Jerry Jones getting old and bitter and having his ego hurt because he likes to negotiate with the player, not the agents. And Micah told Jerry, talk to my agent. I'm not talking to you. That's what he's paid to do. That's not my job. I don't talk dollar bills and money with you. And Jerry probably got pissed off and said, fine, we don't need you then. So, like, my God, this reeks of Jerry Jones getting bitter and old and egotistical and saying, fine, I'll trade you. I don't care. I don't need you. When in fact, the Dallas Cowboys 1,000% need Micah Parsons on that defense.
Absolutely. They
Joseph
absolutely
Umberg
need
in
him.
the comments read my mind. He said Jerry Jones thinks he's making another Herschel Walker trade. I don't know if you
he
guys
did get
caught...
2 first-rounders for him. I mean, hey, that's great. That's great. But
those are late first-round draft picks. That's like pick 26, 25. It's not even a top 10 pick right now.
There's got to be players coming back in return. Somebody. I don't even think it's a receiver because, I mean, they're kind of receiver heavy at this point with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens over there now. So now it's like, hey, we can't stop you defensively, but we're going to try to outscore you.
Right. That seems to be the motto now. Like, we're going to put up 35 points a game, but wow, they don't have a running back. Like, Javonte Williams is their guy? Like, there's no way. Like, this is a disaster if you're Dallas. Disaster.
This is terrible. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm pissed Like, how do you give up on Micah Parsons, who's been one of your for sure things year in and year out? And to argue, who's more of a for sure thing? Is it Dak Prescott or is it Micah Parsons? I would lean more on Micah Parsons than Dak Prescott because I know that when come playoff time, Micah Parsons isn't going to shit the bed like Dak Prescott does on a yearly basis. So this makes no sense. But hey, it's the Cowboys. What do you expect?
As a 49er fan, that makes me feel better about my organization. We can say what we want about the 49ers and how they draft and how they don't prioritize certain things. And, they have all these injury problems, yada, yada, yada. But like John and Kyle have been here. They've run a pretty tight ship. They always make trades for the most part that make sense. They're very transparent with their fan base about what they're trying to do. And you look at the Dallas Cowboys, it's 100% the opposite direction. Dallas Cowboy fans are like Yankee fans. Like, they are always the talk of the town, right? But it's never for good reasons. You know what I mean? Dallas hasn't won a Super Bowl in over 30 years, okay? I was 16 the last time they won a Super Bowl, 15, 16 years old. So, like, they had a documentary come out about them, and it's talking about the past and Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. I don't know if, maybe he's, like, feeling himself, so to speak, after watching that, thinking, you know what, I'm gonna do the Herschel Walker trade all over again. I'm gonna set the world on fire. But, the Cowboys, I think the 49ers, this doesn't worry me.
No, we don't face either team this season because of our easier schedule. So it'll be fun to watch how this kind of plays out for both teams. But again, just like Sterling was saying, this is Jerry Jones being an egotistical madman.
Yeah, maniac. Because he's basically saying, you don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do. I'm trading you.
He's still in the draft room, dude. He still doesn't trust his own people to draft players. He runs the draft.
It's ridiculous.
Talk about the Niners. We have our issues with the front office sometimes and things they do. But they have a pretty set.
The Dallas Cowboys are receiving 2 first-round draft picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. That's a pretty
that makes sense.
Pretty substantial loss for Green Bay in the middle of their defense.
Yeah. They had to get something on the D-line. They had to.
Clark is one of the best defensive tackles in football. I'm a little worried for Green Bay's run defense, which Aaron said he wasn't worried about, the Micah Parsons acquisition by Green Bay. If you have a healthy Christian McCaffrey, running against Green Bay becomes a hell of a lot easier now if they're San Francisco.
Right. Well, that's if we can get to the playoffs and face a team like Green Bay, if they're there. Yeah. But I'm just saying, right, like even in the long term, like Micah Parsons has never been an issue for the 49ers, no matter how many times we've played them. I don't know if it's how they scheme it up or, some people play bad in big games. But, like, to me, like you said, for the NFC North, this all of a sudden becomes did I say the NFC North?
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
You did.
Yeah,
you did. Yeah,
the
you
NFC
did.
North. But even for the, now for people in the NFC East too, like, I still think Dallas is better than the Giants. Even with
they
this.
Better be.
Yeah.
They better be. Russell Wilson out there.
Yeah.
But Dallas, to me, Kenny Clark is a damn good football player, and I think the Dallas Cowboys really needed that on the interior defensive line. So to give Jerry some credit here, getting Kenny Clark is a pretty big deal for that defense. However, when you're discussing teams like Philadelphia, who is at least in this weird perennial prime with their defense being awesome and the offensive line being incredible out there, and Jalen Hurts under contract and AJ Brown, like, they're set for a while. The Commanders are on the come up, which they have 3 more years of a rookie contract. Jaden Daniels, Dak's going to be like 35 then, which quarterbacks can play later in their career. But at some point, you have to realize Dallas Cowboys are going to have a steep fall off. And I get it. Like, they want to tweak things and maybe save some money in return to hopefully help the roster out in other ways. But this definitely feels like the Packers trying to thread that needle.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys saying, look, we have to use these funds elsewhere and don't mind trading away Micah, which I am just shocked Micah agreed to go to the Packers.
Out of all places.
Seriously.
Teams don't agree for that at all, or players don't agree to that whatsoever.
It's like going to play in Buffalo. Nobody wants to go play there because of the weather and just
exactly.
Yeah.
But the Packers had to make this move. They needed to get a premier pass rusher. You look at the Lions; they got Aiden Hutchinson. Everyone around them had a premier pass rusher except for them. And in comparison, I mean, look, they moved Kenny Clark. Out of all the D tackles, I think he was ranked 27th, or according to PFF. He's
really good.
He had 66 quarterback pressures, 25 defensive stops, including in the playoffs, and he tallied an impressive 913 snaps. So the guy showed that he has durability. So they're getting a good player in return, plus 2 first-round picks. That's really good, but still, I don't know if I'd give up on Micah Parsons if you ask me. But that's them.
You guys think now that this has happened that there is going to be maybe not now, but at the end of the year, possibly going back to the table with Bosa's people? And
it's possible, but
let's talk about that for a second, because we have the contracts in front of us now. The top 5 highest paid edge rushers in football. Max Crosby's number 5 with $35.5 million. Danielle Hunter is 4 with $35.6 million per year. Myles Garrett, 3rd with $40 million. TJ Watt, 2nd with $41 million. And Micah Parsons got $6 extra million, 47 per year from the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, Nick Bosa only getting $34 million, $13 million less per season than Micah Parsons. There is no way in hell that Bosa does not hold out next year in wanting at least somewhat of a raise to get that money back, because Nick Bosa, for as good as Micah Parsons is, I'd much rather have Nick Bosa than Micah Parsons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bosa plays both the run and the pass.
Yeah, he's a force wherever he's at.
Yep. And he's one really great edge rusher away from really being unlocked. Bosa, like, we can get on him. I've gotten on him in the past, but like, he really has never had that other guy. But yeah, they have, man, to make that much less than a guy that you're better than and that fans know. And I'm telling you right now, John Lynch is secretly sitting in his office like, oh,
damn it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Just when I thought the Jauan Jennings situation was my biggest problem, now I gotta pay the Italian stallion after this season. Rightfully deserved, though. I mean,
I don't have
the
the
it all
cap
comes
in
back
front
to
of
the
me.
Niners. What's that?
I don't have the dead cap in front of me, so forgive me, but we just saw the Dallas Cowboys trade.
$96 million.
So that's next year?
Right now, the Niners have the biggest dead cap. I saw it. Yes, I think it was yesterday.
On Bosa's contract for next year.
Oh, I do not know.
Because we just saw Dallas trade away their edge rusher, their premier defensive player, to what seems to be save some money, but also redistribute that on the rest of the roster and hopefully get better in the process. The San Francisco 49ers, yes, love Nick Bosa. Yes, want to build around him. But although I would not be in favor of this, do you think that maybe there is a way where San Francisco at least entertains the idea of trading Nick Bosa if he indeed says, hey, I want to get some more money this offseason?
No way.
And there is the dead cap money for next season. I believe it's where is it at?
Can you
at
zoom in somewhat on there?
$75 million?
Really hard to see. I have old man eyes.
Here we go. How about that?
Oh, stop, dude. I got like 20 years on you. Enough.
I got old man eyes. I know.
I'm only 28, guys.
I'm
okay,
20,
so here's
2026
2026 right here, and if you go straight down, $75 million in dead cap for this season, $33 million next season. So I mean,
wow.
Is there
$75 million in dead cap?
I mean, like, is there
that'll probably change?
Yeah, is there a possibility that they could move him? I think they may entertain the idea, but at this point, that's then. This is now. I'm not worried about this. We'll deal with this probably after this season because
I don't see it unless he has diminishing returns this year, and he looks like he's playing backwards. I just think there are certain players on this squad that are never going to go anywhere.
Well,
but Bosa and Warner are two of them.
But if you look at his contract after this season, he's got zero guaranteed salary. I would imagine after this season, he's going to say, okay, it's time to re-up, everybody. I want the new contract. So I think this is the year you get him at a price that's reasonable. And I think next season, that's when he wants to do the whole time to either restructure, give me a new contract, an extension, whatever. And that's when we deal with that.
Shall we go to the YouTube chat for a second? We have a lot of fans and listeners and watchers out there chiming in. We have David saying, Bosa trading to Washington so he can be closer to the White House.
Yeah, that's it. That's the answer right there.
Yeah, that's the answer. Let's see what else is out there. Rob D says he's definitely asking for a new contract next season.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And let the negotiations for Nick Bosa begin again. Big Brick 84 says they are keeping all that free cap space for next year to pay Nick Bosa next year.
Probably.
Especially if he balls out. So it's not a bad thought, although I do think they're saving a lot of that rollover cap to lessen the hit of Brock Purdy, Trent Williams, and Christian McCaffrey and Ayuk's new deals that are going to hit the books next year. But it is a thought to keep in the back of maybe our brains as the season progresses. Kenny 49er says trade Bosa and get a haul in return.
I mean, would you call this a haul for Micah Parsons? Yeah, you got two first rounders and Kenny Clark. I would want a little more than that. And
Niners
like
aren't trading draft picks in the back of the draft.
They're going to be late first round picks. They're not going to be high first round picks. So it's kind of like, okay, well, but let alone they still are first round picks. I mean, hey, imagine the next 2 years you have 2 first round picks.
I think the 49ers have the end of Trent Williams' contract in mind. And I think if they do readjust Bosa, I think they readjust Bosa in the books with Trent Williams' money coming off the books at some point soon.
At some point, yeah. But I mean, for Dallas, you figure, hey, look, we got 2 first round picks the next 2 years, right? That's pretty huge for them to try to rebuild. Some teams would say, well, I want multiple picks each year instead of just 2 first rounders. But no, he went for the high pick. I want 2 first round picks because I want every year of the next 2 years, I should say, I want 2 first rounders coming out of the draft going to Dallas Cowboys, which means that they're going to rebuild at some of the key positions. Now, what those positions are, I don't know. I don't follow the Cowboys that close. But I would think it'd be quarterback at one point, but probably not. But they got 2 premier receivers. They're probably going to look for a running back, another pass rusher.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rusher, yeah.
The only way
he wants premier players. So, yeah,
the only way the Niners trade Bosa is if it's an off-season move, and it's prior to the draft, because I think they go into a draft knowing that it's an edge, like deep draft, like it's a deep edge draft, and they're like, okay, we're gonna move off from him.
That's
we're gonna free up a bunch of money. We could actually bring in maybe a couple other players with that money, and then because he's a rookie, we can have another edge come in to quote unquote replace him, but on far less money, less injured, younger and stuff. They're not. They would never just do it. I think I don't think they would do it player for player. And if they're going to do draft picks, it would never be like right before the season. That would just be a dumb move.
Yeah,
it'd have to be before the draft.
That's the confusing part for Dallas, where if this trade, let's say, happened back in February or March, I think our perspectives are a little different because you know exactly where you're picking. You get Kenny Clark in the building early, where now Kenny Clark has 1 week to learn that defense, which shouldn't be too hard. But now you have 2 first-round draft picks in which you have to wait a whole other season to get a guy in your building, which sometimes doesn't pay off. Sometimes it does. Maybe Jerry makes another trade elsewhere and whatnot. But the Dallas Cowboys certainly feel like they definitely lost this trade, at least initially. Because waiting a whole year for a draft pick, I don't love that. But I think, Aaron, you're right. If kind of turning things back to Nick Bosa, which I don't think they'll do this, if they're going to trade Bosa, it'll be in the offseason before the draft because they want to know what they're getting. I do want to ask you guys this, though, because it's a small part of the conversation. But let's say Trent Williams' season doesn't go as we think it may go, right? He's aging. This next draft is seemingly a much better tackle draft, and those guys fit San Francisco's scheme a little bit more in the next draft class. if Trent retires or gets hurt again, and San Francisco's a little concerned as to who's blocking Brock Purdy's backside, could we see them then maybe invest in the offensive line via trading away Nick Bosa? And could that kind of depend on if Robert Saleh comes back next year as well?
Man, it's a good question.
It's a loaded question. I get that, but I think all that has to come into the conversation because a lot can change really fast for San Francisco.
That's awesome, Dre.
Yeah, I think that, look, at the end of the day, this is going to be a situation where if Bosa and the Niners can't agree on a contract, we're going to know fairly soon what's, if this is going to work out or not. And if it's not, then I think, yes, they will look to entertain trades. They've done it before with Brandon Ayuk. They've also done that, I think, with Deebo Samuel. They said, hey, if you want to pursue a trade, go for it. So that's something that they're not something that they don't do. I think they definitely will do that. But I don't see them getting, letting Bosa leave unless they're getting a huge haul in return.
Gabriel Pereira.
Yeah.
That is an interesting one because he lives in Miami in the offseason. That's where he's from. That's where his daddy played. Would you trade Bosa to Miami for Chop Robinson and a first round? That
Well, I will say this, and
that
look,
would be interesting.
Trading Nick Bosa is a conversation that we're having now, but it's not going to really come into the zeitgeist until the offseason in which Bosa has a good or bad year. But if they fire Mike McDaniel, I doubt they're trading for Nick Bosa unless they're getting a big name coach in there, which maybe Belichick wants the ball out in Miami next year with his young girlfriend. Who knows? But to me, trading Nick Bosa, you don't trade him to teams that I don't like. I don't view Miami as a contender. The only reason the Packers made this move for Parson was because they believe they can win the whole thing this year. You have to find a team that, one, can fit his contract into their financial situation, but two, believe they are a Nick Bosa away from winning the Super Bowl. I don't think that's Miami.
They're not.
I don't know who that is, though.
The Chargers?
The Chargers could be.
But who do they
Buffalo could
want?
be.
You're not trading Nick Bosa away unless there's guaranteed high end, whether it's offensive lineman or defensive lineman in the next draft. And also you're getting somebody back in return. Like, let's say it is 2 first-round draft picks and insert high-quality player. Who is that high-quality player you want back with Nick Bosa leaving your building?
Right.
Like, I can't think of a team that would do that outside of Green Bay, which this feels like it kind of came out of nowhere and it happened in like a matter of days.
Crazy.
This is crazy.
In the real world, I think Bosa stays with the Niners long term.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
If anything, like you said, with Trent Williams missing games every year, and I really think this could be his last year. I just have this feeling, and the Niners need to.
Negative Nancy down there.
I know. Of course
right.
you're going to
He's
say
right.
that. Of course. But I get it.
Right.
I do get it. But that's Aaron for you. This is probably the end.
I'm a New Yorker, baby.
I think Brock Purdy's going to tear his
all about
ACL this
negative
year.
energy. I didn't say. See, why would you put that energy out there?
But you're already putting this energy out there. I might as well counter it.
But Trent has a track record of playing like 11 games a year.
A negative times a negative is a positive. So there you go. I mean, look, anything's possible at the end of the year. Anything is possible. We'll see how this year plays out.
Kevin Garnett,
but if they're going to trade Nick Bosa, he's got to have a really crappy year this coming year. If he's lackluster and doesn't do much of anything, I think they'll consider it.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and Auto Camp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
I don't think you're wrong, but I do think that if Bosa balls out and wants $47 million a year or to reset the market again, that is I'm sorry, Nick, but we kind of just did that with Purdy. We may or may trade Brandon Ayuk. We don't really know what's going to happen there, but
there's that. Yep.
Like, a lot of money is going to be moved around in a variety of ways next year. And I think Bosa balling out, if you are in the camp that says he really hasn't done much under his contract, there's some games he disappears, like you almost want Bosa to ball out for you. One, because it means good things for this year, but also it means he's probably going to ask for a crap ton of money. He may ask for $50 million a year. And San Francisco's like, hell no. We'll find someone else for you to play for next year.
My hope is they can move a guy like Ayuk.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't bring back Jennings. Demarcus Robinson becomes something. Ricky Pearsall becomes something, and Watkins becomes something. Then all of a sudden, you're not really paying any of your receivers, and then you can allocate money to say other places. I mean, they're doing it this year with the youth moving on defense. Who says that they don't go into a season? They have faith in Brock Purdy, they have faith in the scheme, and they go maybe into next year minus their two top receivers over the last couple of years. And there's always it's amazing when you hit on the draft how it makes personnel decisions on your team so much easier, and when you miss, it makes everything be like a straight chess game. They need to invest in their offensive line, and next year's draft has to be that draft.
Yeah.
You can't go into next year's draft and be like, ha, we're drafting somebody in the 7th round, guys. Ha, we're funny. It's not funny, dude.
I think there's a lot of guys that they were targeting on the offensive line in this draft, but with the Raiders taking back-to-back offensive linemen, I think at the end of, I forget what round that was, when the guy from William Mary College.
Oh, Charles Grant?
Yeah, when Charles Grant went and then another offensive lineman went, they were like, oh, crap. And I think they were kind of sitting on those guys. Okay, we're going to take these guys. And then the Raiders took those guys. So I think there was an opportunity for them to take offensive linemen. I think they were planning on it, but it just didn't work out that way. But one of the questions I want to ask you guys is, with this being done, now Micah Parsons is now going to be a member of the Green Bay Packers for all this crazy money. And more than likely, Nick Bosa will likely look for an extension after the season to get a huge pay raise.
Thank you, Louis.
What does this mean for a guy like Jauan Jennings, who's like, I want my contract. Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Okay.
I'm not getting it now.
And the team's like, what do you want? I want my contract. Shut up. Bosa, can we talk? You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, this may have sunk his battleship where he's like, oh,
they might have been picking up his calls from his agent. All of a sudden, it's going straight to DMs, to the message.
Straight to voicemail.
Straight to voicemail. Everyone's like, he's like, hey, guys, no, I don't care. Go away. We're busy right now.
Well, if your name isn't Nick Bosa, don't talk to us.
It's a good point, because San Francisco already seems rather timid to pay Jauan Jennings. They seem like they don't really want to do that. And I'll play the clip here in a second of John Lynch talking about it. But now that they may have the thought in their head, and it may have already had this there, but we may have to pay Nick Bosa more money.
Mm-hmm.
We can't afford to even think about paying Jauan Jennings now.
Nope.
Like that to me is a real thing, where Jauan may have been holding out hope, which I don't know if he actually would have got paid. I have really changed my mind on what I think will happen with him in the last few days or so. But this now almost removes any thought of paying Jauan Jennings for San Francisco in my mind. Like, it's not happening.
Absolutely.
I have to think that the 49ers have people in their building that have their ear to the ground, that knew that something might be happening.
I mean, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
You're not turning on Twitter in John Lynch's office and be like, never saw something like that coming.
Right.
Well,
the
I think
trade to Green Bay is not the reason they're worried. Like, he was going to get paid, whether in Dallas or Green Bay.
Yeah.
Just was how much was he going to get paid? Dre, go on. Sorry.
But I think still, like, even if Dallas would have given him this contract, right? You would say, okay, he's making this much more money. This is going to affect Nick Bosa. But the fact that it's a trade and he's getting a fat contract, to me, it's even bigger deal, because now it shows you that another franchise is willing to give a player this much money. Not just the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, but the Green Bay Packers and whoever the fuck runs them. They're the ones that give
Brian
them money.
Gutekunst, brother.
There you go. And so, like I said, to me, Jauan Jennings' boat just got torpedoed by Micah Parsons, just right through the boat.
It's like him and John Lynch. It's like him and John Lynch playing Battleship, and it's like, okay, Jauan, you have one more boat left, and then you sunk my battleship. He's not getting paid.
Or they're playing Battleship and they're on each sides of the board, and Nick Bosa just comes into the room and just wrecks the table, like right through the middle. Like he drops the Macho Man elbow from the top rope right to the table, and like says,
he just walks in, punches Jauan, and says, "I'm playing now." And puts the chips back on the board, and John's like, "Wait, what? What's happening? No!" It's like freaking
What's
out.
that meme where the guy's with a girl and he's looking back at the other girl?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. Jauan Jennings is like, what? You're like, no, I thought we had something going. Like, hey, Jauan, it was nice talking to you. I got to go. Something just came up. And, I think if you're Jauan Jennings, you report to the facility on Monday and you're out there showing – because at this point now, if you're Jauan Jennings, you have to prove to them, to the Niners and the rest of the league, that you're healthy and that you're worth this money. Because now it's like, well, come on, dude.
and if he sits out, the only person he's hurting is himself.
Right.
So
Should
eventually that little bit of money that he's getting paid is going to be like, I guess they're not going to play ball with me. And then all of a sudden the Niners are like, now I have to deal with it.
Is
A
it even
4-year
worth-
188. I mean, come on.
crazy? Is it even worth even playing the John Lynch clip now?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, because I think it's an honest
I want
comment
to
from John Lynch.
I want to get your viewers to look at the body language of John Lynch
Yeah,
because
let's
it's
see- let's
important
watch
in this
that.
clip.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, yesterday, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan talked to the media and discussed the practice squad and the 53-man roster. And, of course, they were bombarded with a ton of questions regarding Jauan Jennings. And keep an eye on John Lynch's body language because it gives a really good indication as to how the front office and the GM view potentially bringing him back for a long-term contract.
Is it worse than you originally had thought it was going to be?
Yeah, but I also, calves can take a long time. That's one thing with that injury. Played with guys who they can take a while. So.
I'm sure you may be aware that there's been some conjecture that there's more than just a calf going on, given his desire for a new contract and everything. Are you convinced when he is healthy that he'll be ready to play?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that, Eric. Ideally, everybody has a training camp. Everyone's out there. That's a perfect world. But, he's been putting in work to the side, and we'll have to make that judgment when the time comes. The other thing is both things can be true. He wants a new contract and he's got a hurt calf. So I think people want to assume one or the other. Both things can be true.
When you make your decisions on the wide receiver position specifically, do you have to do it assuming you might not have Jauan for the first few weeks?
I think we make every decision on this roster with so many things in consideration. So, yes, of course.
Has he asked to be traded?
A while ago he did, but that was a long time ago, and we've moved on from that.
That was during camp, or was it before?
I'm not getting into when it was, but it was a while ago.
Damn.
Kawakami trying to drill down.
That last question sunk that press conference.
Yeah. I mean, it was very telling. Looking at his body language, looking at Kyle Shanahan, they're over it. They're done with this bullshit. They're like, dude, get your ass on the field, dude. We just want to win some fucking games here. And instead, he's playing this charade where he wants to get more money. And
I think it had a lot to do with the fact that it was a real injury. Probably it started as a real injury, and then they saw the wide receiver room and with the situation that was happening, and all of a sudden his agent was like, "Time to ask for more money. They need you." And it's backfired on them totally. They rather go get street free agents than pay this guy. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's backfired on the Niners whatsoever because,
No, it backfired on Jauan Jennings.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he tried to play this a little bit differently than what Brandon Ayuk did, last offseason. But at the end of the day, it's still the same situation where it's like, hey, I don't want to play because I want more money. I'm going to sit out and watch. When he does come back, he may or may not even look the same. Now, granted, both of them, Jauan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk, they're entirely different receivers. Ayuk is a great route running receiver that creates separation. Jauan Jennings is a guy that, does all the dirty work, finds those soft spots in your defense, and then tries to get yards after the catch or makes the tough catch because he's a big, tall guy and tough receiver. So they're both different kinds of receivers. And I think that the timing issue with Brandon Ayuk was a huge problem that he had coming back so late. And I think before he got hurt, I think he was starting to come around, and they were starting to go to him more often, and then he got blown up, and that was the end of that.
I have changed my thoughts on the Jauan Jennings situation. I was staunchly in the camp of the injury is real. It's more severe than we think it is. Jauan isn't the holdout kind of guy. Jauan is more of a team player than, say, Ayuk was. He's not going on podcasts. He's not going on social media, making it about himself. He's not really been a distraction outside of just asking for more money and not practicing. However, that I don't think is the case anymore. I do think he actually is injured, albeit it's more minor than I initially believed it to be. So I'm somewhat pivoting my thoughts on this. I don't think San Francisco is willing to pay Jauan Jennings beyond this season, and that's the problem. I do think San Francisco would be willing to give Jauan a couple more $1 million this year to satisfy him. I think it's you don't want to pay me for 2026 and 2027. They're unwilling to almost erase the void years in his contract and give him a deal, let's say, through 2028. They don't want to do that. They don't want to tie themselves to guys they don't believe can either hold up or maybe aren't as valuable to the roster. Don't forget, Jauan Jennings, for as good as he has been and as clutch as he has been, is a former 7th-round draft pick. You can find these guys a lot. Now, Jauan is awesome. I love Jauan Jennings, but this to me is like, look, we don't want to give you 2 or 3 years of a contract, but also now that you're kind of hurt, and like John said, caps are really tricky, we don't now want to pay you more money this year either. Like JJ, for as much as it's worth, has kind of lost on both fronts here because the injury certainly sucks for this year. And San Francisco, after kind of getting handed a mandate from Jed York and Prague Marate of like, hey, we're not paying dudes unless you absolutely have to. If it's a Brock, if it's Fred, if it's a cornerstone player, we'll pay those dudes. But we're not paying Brandon Ayuk's. We're not paying Jauan Jennings. We're not paying Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd. We're not doing those kind of deals anymore. And I think San Francisco, mainly John and Kyle, are like, our hands are tied, Jauan. Like, we can't do much here for you. We want you to come back. We want you to be on the roster and play for us against Seattle week 1. But there's a reason San Francisco, like Dre said earlier, signed MBS and is interested somewhat in signing Kendrick Bourne. There's a real future in which Jauan Jennings is gone after this year and doesn't even suit up against the Seahawks week 1. Like they're preparing themselves.
It's becoming more of a not I can't say guarantee, but it's like I didn't believe it at first. But like I said that thing about Fox NFL Sunday and how things work out. But man, rewatching that press conference, it's kind of maybe he doesn't suit up, and maybe they're okay with it. And then when they get Demarcus Robinson back, then because he looked pretty impressive in the preseason, so you're only as good at the NFL is a what have you done for me lately kind of league. And if somebody comes along who's more impressive and less expensive, then all of a sudden what you do isn't all that special. So I don't know.
To me, it comes down to San Francisco can no longer wait for Jauan Jennings and is actively preparing for life without him as early as next weekend against the Seahawks.
Absolutely. The fact that they brought in Valdes-Scantling, the fact that they're in talks with Kendrick Bourne, which I think they are literally trying to bring him back, actively trying to get him back. There was footage of Kyle Shanahan hugging Kendrick Bourne after the game, and Bourne was like, "Hey man, thank you for everything, man. They have
Wasn't that last year against New England?
It was last year, but still, like you could see the friendship was still there.
Yeah.
And so
Bourne
to me,
I'm not a big Bourne guy either. Sorry,
but Bourne was a big red zone threat, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's Kendrick Bourne.
Sorry. I mean, he's not going to be like, look, is Kendrick Bourne the next coming of Jauan Jennings? No, but he's familiar.
He was
with
the first coming of Jauan Jennings.
Yes, he was. He knows the system. He's got familiarity with a lot of the players here. And I think by bringing in a guy like Kendrick Bourne, they're telling Jauan Jennings, hey, look, if you're not ready, we're going to bring in other guys that are ready to contribute now. And I think that's why you didn't see them keep a guy like Robbie Chosen on the roster. Because they said, you know what? there are better options than Robbie Chosen. Is Robbie Chosen a bad player? No, I don't think so. I thought he played really well in the preseason, but they have a standard, a higher standard that they're trying to keep, and they're saying, no, let's put him on the practice squad. We can find someone better. And they wanted someone better.
We've kind of been talking about, Micah Parsons being traded and how it impacts Jauan Jennings and Nick Bosa's contracts. With Parsons getting traded just maybe over 2 weeks away from kickoff. I guess today is actually 1 week away from the NFL kickoff next Thursday. Does this maybe increase the likelihood that Jauan does get traded? Because I know John was adamant about, we're not doing that. We're not trading him. But when Micah gets traded the week before the actual opener, maybe this does force San Francisco's hand. Like, they can put Jauan on IR for however long it needs to be, but do you want to waste an IR spot for Jauan Jennings, which he might be 95% healthy? I don't want to do that. Like, to me, things are really complicated right now. And if Jauan doesn't want to play and he wants money, then at this point, just trade him. Like, what do you have to lose?
But his value is dropping. I think his value is dropping by the day, especially once season starts. Teams are going to start forgetting what he even did last season. It's like, hey, look, what about Jauan Jennings?
His value is all that high to begin with around the NFL.
He's
do you think it's higher
himself.
than it would be in the offseason is my question, I guess. Because let's say he signs and the comp pick is worth a 5th round pick. Same as Deebo Samuel. Do you think you can get a 5th round pick right now?
Probably. I think you could. I think he's more of a 6th round pick. I don't think you get anything more than a 5th round pick. And you'd be lucky to get that. I think a 6th round pick is what you get for Jauan Jennings.
Would you
I don't think somebody parts with a 5th, even for a 5th with him.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 or 7.
6 or below.
No way.
Yeah.
So would you guys be more
cash considerations?
Would you guys be more? Yeah, player to be named later for Jauan Jennings. Would you guys then be more comfortable? Because I don't like the idea of trading a healthy Jauan Jennings. He was so good for us last year. What he brings to the offense, his blocking, like, that's not my first choice. But it's only if Jauan forces their hand and will not suit up next week, even if he actually can and should be out there.
Yeah.
Are you guys open to the idea of just saying, look, he's on IR. He's going to be done until he actually wants to come back for us. And until then, we're not going to see him. Or would you rather trade him and activate somebody like MVS on the active roster, or sign Robbie Chosen-Anderson, or sign Kendrick Bourne instead? Because they're going to have to make a move on the 53-man roster to get Kendrick Bourne in there. So Jauan Jennings, to me, could be the odd man out, whether it be IR or via trade, to acquire Kendrick Bourne too.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Becoming the most valuable sports franchise in the world doesn't happen without risk. A man who's willing to bet it all, and the players ready to make their own luck. America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, is the story of the 1990s Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones's impact on NFL history. Featuring interviews with iconic 90s players and more. Watch America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys, streaming now only on Netflix.
All gas, no brakes.
Is there worth the trouble if they're only going to get a 6th round pick back for him? Like, why even trade him? Like, who cares?
I think there's a deadline on Jauan Jennings. I think I think they tell him, hey, by such and such date or on this day, if you don't let us know, like if you don't show up, then you're going on IR, and then we'll figure things out throughout the season. But we're not going to wait around for you. We're not.
We love you, but you ain't worth. You're not worth the money. Sorry.
If this was Deebo Samuel of 2019,
yes,
coming off that season, totally different.
It's 2021 Deebo, where it's like, oh man, like we want to pay you a lot of money, but San Francisco doesn't even feel like they want to pay him. Like there's no urgency to pay Jauan Jennings.
I like what Kenny 49er says. Yeah. Third and Jauan.
It's
Jauan.
Good. It's good.
I mean, it's just at this point, if I'm Jauan Jennings, I'm like, hey, look, I'm just going to show up and start practicing, start playing. Because to me, he's just hurting himself.
Laurie Matthews asks in the YouTube chat, wouldn't that be dumb on his part, though? If he doesn't play, he only hurts his value. So
absolutely.
Right. Like, the thing is that if Jauan's not going to get paid, which it seems like he's not going to, the smart thing is for him, his own money this year and his own money however long it's going to be after the season, is to play for San Francisco.
Yeah,
Now,
his value goes up if he plays and plays well.
And
so
it
it's
also
in his
helps
best
San
interest.
Francisco get a higher comp pick if he signs for a larger contract. The issue, again, though, like Jauan is maybe thinking, well, I'm kind of hurt. I don't want to play injured. And if I get actually hurt like Brandon Ayuk last year, my stock is entirely tanked, which if you're San Francisco, you get him back for the cheap and call it a day. But it really does feel like that it's going to be put Jauan on IR and then sign Kendrick Bourne because Jauan doesn't feel like he actually wants to suit up this year unless he gets paid money, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen for him.
Oh my God. It's just,
it stinks. I hate this.
Yeah. it really does. Here, I'll show you guys this too. Of course, you knew that the fan edits would come real soon. And,
okay, what do we got?
That there he is. That's how he looks in a
Wow.
Green Bay Packers uniform. And that's likely what he'd be wearing for a number of years moving forward.
The next 4 or 5 years? Ugh.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Man, one of my best friends from college, he's like going crazy, and I was like, "Your run defense is gonna suck, but congratulations!" Like,
yeah,
it's awesome.
That's how they
but,
stop.
like,
that's how they stop Parson. They're like, just run at him. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But this is crazy. But I like you guys were saying, I think that Jauan Jennings and John Lynch and the Niners organization were playing a high stakes poker game, and then Micah Parson just ran through the table. And they were like, "Oh, we gotta go." It's crazy.
We have like 5 or so minutes left here with Dre. Do you guys think Kendrick Bourne is an actual viable replacement for Jauan Jennings, at least like in the intermediate?
No.
He's probably a Band-Aid.
No. He's a
Do
Band-Aid.
you like
He's
that
a Band-Aid.
Band-Aid?
No, he's not that good.
John's
better
I like
by
him.
far.
I like him in the sense that he's been a starter. He knows the system. Kyle Shanahan's familiar with him and his abilities. Granted, that was a few years ago, but remember, like I said, when Jimmy Garoppolo was here, he was one of his favorite targets in the red zone, and he was always scoring touchdowns. So, look, if they could recreate that, I'd love it. And again, he was one of the guys that when he left and DJ Jones left, that was where I was like, oh man, they're letting all these guys get away.
Yeah, the vibes.
The vibes. And the guy's a high energy guy too. He's always dancing in the end zone. So I think it'd be a benefit to have him on the team. If you gave me a choice and said you either have him or Jauan Jennings, I would take Jauan Jennings, obviously.
Right.
But Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he's on the practice squad. He's not even on the active roster.
Yeah.
Isaiah Hodgins is on the active roster. So it just depends on what they want to do. And
Is he?
He is, because he was practicing out there.
I thought Russell Gage was.
I thought that was
Russell
that got
Gage.
actually-
I'm
yeah.
sorry. You're right. Not Isaiah Hodgins. Russell Gage was on the.
You blew it.
I blew it. Well, Russell
Dre's head is
Gage was
actually
out
gone
there.
right now. It was bitten off by
Isaiah
by-
Hodgins just got excited when he heard this podcast, and then you guys
He
shut
said,
it
really?
down.
Me?
He's like,
I made the team?
I didn't show up. But they're gonna. It wouldn't surprise me if they did bring in Kendrick Bourne, because they got to figure out a solution to the wide receiver problem. You can't just run out there with fucking Ricky Pearsall and a bunch of dudes.
Doesn't Ricky Pearsall have a foot blister right now? Wasn't that the report?
Probably.
I don't know.
He probably has a migraine
tackle my
right
guy's
now.
feet.
Yeah, I didn't see that report.
He has a foot blister?
Did that come from Raj?
Foot
He's
or
got
toe.
a foot blister.
Oh, we love Raj.
Raj is my guy. Raj needs to go to work and do some. Raj is a physical therapist. To be like, Raj, you need to go to his house ASAP.
Raj is
Just
like, I
pop
saw
up,
my
puppy, and get back
binoculars.
out there.
Yeah, get a needle,
Jauan-
some alcohol, and call it a day.
Hey, do you guys? Let's kind of pivot to the practice squad really quickly here. Also worth mentioning that Evan Anderson did pass through waivers and is now going to be on the practice squad. So
That's
no harm,
great
no
news.
foul. In claiming Jordan Jefferson, who I think can actually be a viable run defender for this defense, but
That's
they don't lose
awesome.
Evan Anderson. So further good things for San
More
Francisco.
depth.
But
More depth.
I think the biggest takeaway from the practice squad was keeping Sebastian Valdez, who
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he'll actually make an impact this year, so whatever. But bringing back Curtis Robinson is, I think, the bigger move of those two.
Yes.
Because he'll
I was
actually
so
impact
happy.
the roster
Yes.
this year.
Because he could be a starter if you need him to, if you have
Yeah.
injuries. So to
Mike
me,
linebacker.
yeah, that was a great being able to keep him, Valdez. Kind of weird to see Eli Apple
Jalen Graham even got. They even got Jalen Graham too.
I was like, Eli Apple was still sticking around. Where's he been? Jalen Graham. I was happy to see him stick. Last year we lost him to the Commanders before we snatched him back again. So
Niners have a really deep linebacking core.
But here's the thing,
Johnny
though.
Holland's got it made, dude. He's got at least 5 decent linebackers.
But Aaron, I'm worried because why is it that nobody was claimed?
Yeah,
from the Niners. What does that say about the players?
Maybe you have rose-colored glasses and they look a lot better than they actually are.
It's like Shallow Hal when he sees the girls and they're all beautiful, and then everyone else looks over. They're not very attractive. Yeah. Is that what the Niners are? Are they like Shallow Hal? They're like, these guys look amazing, and in reality, everyone's like, the fuck do you have these guys for? I just thought it was weird that nobody claimed any of the players off the Niners. And we were like, we're going to lose Valdez. We're going to lose Evan Anderson. And nobody claimed these guys?
A lot of people think that for the Niners scheme, certain players are more valuable. Yeah. And maybe teams who run different schemes or have different personnel outlooks on their team, like how they what they find important. We know, again, the scheme, really. I think certain players just with the Niners scheme fit so much better than – because you ever notice, like, sometimes a player go, like, between like Miami and San Francisco, like
so
anywhere
Jeff
where
Jr. who got claimed by them yesterday.
Yeah, like it's just
he's like, I'm back.
I told my brother, I was like, because he was sitting on the couch, I'm like, hey Jared, guess who came back? Guess who left the Niners and came back to the Dolphins? He's like, who? Because my brother's pretty negative about the Dolphins this year. Jeff Wilson Jr. Aren't you excited?
Well, don't be too negative because Nick Bosa may be headed your way next offseason if I think Gabriel gets his way in the YouTube chat. So you never know.
If they landed Nick Bosa, my brother would pee. He doesn't get overly excited because he thinks the Dolphins need to fire their coach and redo their front office and everything, which I agree. But a Nick Bosa move to Miami.
Bring back Phil Tippin, whatever his name was, a terrible like 1-win head coach they used to have back in the day.
Oh, Phil, I know he looked like a bald Bill Walsh who had like no personality.
So bad.
You know who?
I think it was Philbin or something.
Yeah, it might have been Philbin. Yeah, but out of all the players that they signed to their practice squad, some of them are just like Nick Sikel. They just can't shake this guy. He's like,
did you hear the report?
They cut him. He's like, I'm still here.
He's working. He's working towards being a starter, and he's doing a real good job. I saw a report. I'm like,
oh, that's great.
4 years it took.
He should be a doctor by now, dude. And some of these guys, like, it's one of those things where it's like, hey guys, I'm still here. Like in that group, it's Nick Sikel, it's Braden Willis, Drake Nugent, Jalen Graham's like, I guess I'm still here. I don't know what's going on. It's like they hit all these players, but the one guy that I think, I mean, look, I'm glad he's on the practice squad, but like he didn't impress, and I'm glad that they put him on, that they waived him and put him on the back squad, was Junior Bergen. I was afraid that they were going to hang on and be like, let's just try it out with him. The fact that he fumbled,
they brought him back.
He muffed that punt. I was like,
we got to get Greg Joseph back. Yeah. Greg Joseph needs to be in that practice squad. Get rid of Nick Sikel.
You know what? I don't want to talk about kickers right now. It's a sore subject. If it was my channel, I would have dropped "What did you say that name?" Because right now it's like
that's his mother's name. Are you understanding?
Jake Moody is just. It's just sour.
It's like that.
Grapes.
It's like the heckler from Happy Gilmore who's like, "You suck. You will not make this kick, jackass." Like,
I mean, everybody they waived, they were able to bring back. That was, I mean, for the Niner fans, where I was like, "Hey, that's awesome," but I was like, "Why didn't anybody else want them?" That's kind of
know for a fact that when he was in high school, Nick Moody, people would either give him wedgies or dump his books every day. They would just walk past him, and they would bully him. Because he doesn't have
wrong, kids. Don't do that.
No, it is wrong.
Bullying is wrong.
But you have to act sometimes like you have like a testicular fortitude, and stop acting like this, like super passive aggressive weenie when you're missing kicks. I don't know. Swear a little bit. Throw something. You know.
There you go.
Act like you're pissed off. I don't know.
Very quickly, other big news: the Niners released brand new jerseys today. Oops, I'm going back and forth. What am I doing here? Sorry. They released brand new jerseys, the rivalry uniforms via Nike. Do you guys love them? Do you guys like them? Quickly, Aaron, you already said you love them. What do you like about them? What do you hate about them? Let us know.
I love that the helmet is black.
I do love that.
Plus. And I love that the number has, there's red and gold in it. It's like,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how they were going to do this because we already had a black jersey, but I like the font. I like the color scheme. I love it all. I'm going to have to buy a jersey at some point.
Yeah. No,
I gotta
it's
lose a
cool.
little bit of fat.
Buy a
but,
Jauan
yeah.
Jennings one. It'll be great for you.
No way.
I'm going for the Eli Apple jersey myself.
Yeah. I'm going to buy Aaron a Jake Moody jersey just for him for Christmas. It'd be great.
I was thinking of getting
Do they make a Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe I'll get
No.
one of those.
You
Retro.
can get it customized. You can get it
I
customized.
can get it customized.
I was gonna get a Bradley jersey, the backup.
There you
Okay,
go.
Carter Bradley. Okay.
Carter
Nick
Bradley.
Sakel, anybody?
Nick Sakel.
Dre, do you like him or do you dislike him?
I like them. They're cool. I don't like the faithful, but it's cool. I get it. I think it's kind of cheesy to have that right there. But no, I think they're really cool. When I first saw them, I was like, these suck. But now I'm like, you know what? I actually like it. I like the saloon font. I like it. It's cool. But guys,
I like them.
I gotta run because I gotta go get my kids.
So
how dare you be a responsible father?
I know.
We can end it here. I'll quickly say I like
Okay.
them. I don't love San Francisco wearing all black, but other than that, I love them. I like the saloon font, the gold, the red. It's all great. Love the helmets. They're a big standout for me. But that's all we have right now on Cover 3. Big Micah Parsons trade. Want to thank Dre Area Sports and Aaron from 49ers First Takes. Go ahead and like and share at their channels. Also subscribe to both their channels and subscribe and like right here to the very video. I want to thank every single person in the YouTube comments. There's a lot of you out there, over 500 plus listeners and watchers. Thank you guys so much for the third edition of Cover 3, a new record for all three of our channels combined on this third edition. So thank you guys so much. And until next time, my name is Sterling Bennett. That's Ray Area Sports. And that is Aaron from 49ers First Takes. And as always, stay faithful.